My mom stood in my penthouse, holding a glass of champagne, and said, "Daisy, you should be thankful we're keeping your building alive." They had no idea I owned the entire 2.3 manor building they were partying in. Before I continue, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story, because what happens next will make you question family loyalty forever. When I walked into the lobby that night, I froze. My family, the same people who once called me a failure, had turned my building into a full-blown party. Balloons, loud music, and a giant banner that read, "Family Celebration, hosted by the Taylors." Hosted by them? The same people who didn't even visit me when I was broke and living in a one-room apartment? My cousin Blake came up, smirking. "Oh, look who finally showed up. Don't worry, Daisy, we made sure to clean up. You wouldn't want your little rental job to get in trouble, right?" Rental job. That's what they still thought I had. Managing apartments for someone else. No one knew I had quietly bought the entire building 2 years ago after my tech startup took off. Then, my Aunt Linda clinked her glass and announced, "We're proud to celebrate the new family tradition, our home away from home." I almost laughed. They were celebrating in my property as if it was their inheritance. I wanted to yell the truth right then, but instead, I smiled, because I had a better idea. "Enjoy the night," I said softly. "It's going to be unforgettable." My brother Ryan snorted. "Unforgettable? Please, you're just lucky to be invited." He didn't notice the property manager texting me, "Ready when you are." As they danced and bragged about their building, I quietly slipped out to the control room. One click and every light dimmed. The music stopped. The projector lit up, showing the building's title deed, my name in bold letters. Owner, Daisy Taylor. The room fell silent. Their smiles froze. My mother's glass shattered, and before they could say a word, I grabbed the mic and said, "Welcome to my property. Now, let's talk about rent." The room went dead quiet. You could hear the champagne fizzing in the glasses they hadn't dropped yet. My uncle's fake grin cracked first. This has to be a joke," he stammered. "Oh, it's not," I said calmly, holding the mic like I'd been waiting for this moment my entire life. "Check the legal documents. I bought this building 2 years ago. The same year you all laughed when I said I was starting my own company." My cousin Blake scoffed, still trying to sound confident. "Please, Daisy, you couldn't even afford a car back then." I smiled. "You're right, I couldn't. Because I sold everything I had to fund my software idea, the one you said would fail, the one that just got acquired by a Fortune 500 company." Their eyes widened one by one. I could feel the tension in the air, like the moment before thunder hits. My mom's face turned pale. "You mean, you really own this?" she whispered. "Every floor," I said, "including the one you're standing on without permission." A few guests started whispering. Some were trying to sneak out, embarrassed for being part of a party that wasn't even theirs. But I wasn't done yet. "You know what's funny?" I continued. "When I asked for a small loan to pay my tuition, you said helping me would be a waste of money. And now you're throwing parties in the building that my wasted efforts paid for." Ryan stepped forward, trying to take control. "You don't have to humiliate everyone, Daisy. We're family." I turned to him slowly. "Family?" I repeated. "Family doesn't cut you off because you're struggling. Family doesn't host a party in your property without asking. You all made your choice when you left me standing alone." The silence grew heavier. My Aunt Linda tried to recover, putting on her fake smile again. "Come on, sweetheart. Let's not make this dramatic. We just wanted to celebrate together." "Celebrate what?" I interrupted. "My success you never believed in? Or the chance to claim it like it's yours?" Nobody answered. I could see guilt flickering on some faces, but mostly embarrassment. Then I glanced toward the security team by the entrance. "Gentlemen," I said quietly, "start the check-in procedure." Blake frowned. "Check-in?" The guard stepped forward. "We're verifying invitations. Anyone not on the guest list will have to leave immediately." You should have seen their faces when they realized they weren't invited to my celebration. They were being evicted from it. As my relatives started arguing with security, I walked to the window overlooking the city skyline, calm, collected, satisfied. But I wasn't finished yet, because the real twist was still coming. And this time, they weren't just leaving my party, they were leaving my lives for good. As the guards began escorting people out, the chaos was deliciously poetic. My uncle was shouting about family rights, my aunt was threatening to call her lawyer, and Ryan kept demanding someone turn the lights back on. I let them rant. Because for once, I was in control. When the room was nearly empty, my mom stayed behind, trembling, clutching her purse. "Daisy," she said quietly, "you've made your point. You can stop this now." I turned toward her, remembering the nights I begged her for help with rent, and she told me to figure it out like a real adult. "Stop?" I said softly. "You stopped being my mother the day you called me a disappointment in front of everyone." She winced. "I was angry." "No," I cut her off. "You were proud. Proud that you had a daughter who failed, because it made you feel superior." For a second, she didn't know what to say. Then she tried to change her tone. "We just didn't know how successful you'd become, sweetheart. Maybe we could," I laughed bitterly. "There it is, the maybe we could work together speech. Mom, you didn't even congratulate me when my company went public. You blocked my number." Her eyes darted around, realizing people were still filming. She hated looking weak. But I didn't care anymore. I took a deep breath. "You all wanted to treat me like the failure of the family," I said, my voice firm. "So I let you?" I worked in silence, saved every cent, built my company, and bought the building you once told me I'd never afford even a room in. Then I pointed toward the elevator. "The party's over. You can go," she hesitated. "You wouldn't kick your own mother out." I smiled sadly. "You're right. I wouldn't kick my mother out, but you stopped being her a long time ago." For a moment, she just stared at me, a mix of guilt and rage twisting her face, before storming toward the elevator with the others. When the doors closed, silence filled the room again. My chest felt heavy but free. For the first time, I wasn't the underdog. I was the owner. I thought that was the end of it, until my phone buzzed. A text popped up on the screen. "You might own the building, Daisy, but you don't own what's inside it." Ryan, my stomach dropped. I looked at the surveillance feed, and what I saw made my blood run cold. On the screen, I saw Ryan and Blake sneaking into my office on the 14th floor, the one room I'd locked and sealed for a reason. My heart raced. That office wasn't just an office. It held the hard drives containing my company's original code, my contracts, and private investor data worth millions. I zoomed in. Ryan was waving something shiny, my spare keycard. "He'd stolen it," Blake whispered. "If we can get those files, we'll show her who really runs this family." My jaw clenched. I could almost hear my heart beat. They weren't just trying to humiliate me anymore. They were trying to destroy everything I'd built. Without thinking, I grabbed my phone and called the control room. "Lock down the 14th floor now," I ordered. "Already on it." "Ms. Taylor," the guard replied, on the surveillance feed. I watched Ryan and Blake freeze as red lights flashed and metal shutters sealed the exits. Ryan slammed his fists against the door, shouting, "You can't do this! You can't trap us in here!" I smirked. "Actually," I whispered to myself, "I can. It's my building." Then I took the elevator up, calm on the outside, but furious inside. When the doors opened, the two of them were pacing like trapped animals. Ryan spun around, his face red. "This is insane. You're crossing the line." "The line?" I said, walking in slowly. "You broke into my office, stole my keycard, and tried to steal from me. Again." "That's not crossing a line, Ryan. That's who you are." Blake tried to smooth things over. "Come on, Daisy, we didn't mean harm. We were just curious." I raised an eyebrow. "Curious enough to copy my company files?" They both went pale. I picked up one of the drives from the desk and held it up. "You see this? This is the reason I could afford this entire building. Every late night, every rejection, every tear, all stored in here. And you tried to take it." Ryan looked desperate. "Please, Daisy, don't make this bigger than it is." "We're family," I sighed. "You keep saying that word like it's supposed to mean something. Family isn't supposed to steal from you when you finally make it." I opened the intercom and told security, "Escort them out. And make sure they never step foot in my building again, not even for mail." As the guards took them away, Ryan shouted over his shoulder. "You think you've won, Daisy? This isn't over!" I stared after him. "It never is with people like you," I whispered. When the doors closed behind them, I leaned against my desk, letting out a shaky breath. For the first time in years, I felt in control, until my assistant rushed in, pale as paper. "Daisy," she said, trembling, "you need to see this. The family went live on social media. They're telling everyone you stole the building from them." My eyes narrowed. They wanted war? Then they were going to get one. Within an hour, my phone started exploding with notifications, my name trending, comments flooding in. People asking if I really stole a $2.3 million building from my own family. My relatives had gone live, fake crying, twisting the story to make me look like a greedy villain. Ryan's voice echoed from one of the clips. "We built this place together, and Daisy kicked us out like trash. She doesn't deserve what she has." I felt my chest tighten, not from guilt, but from disbelief at how low they'd stoop. But they didn't know one thing. I recorded everything. Every insult, every fake apology, every second they broke into my office, all captured by my building's cameras. So instead of defending myself online, I posted a single video titled, "The Truth They Didn't Want You to See." In the clip, you could see the party. The moment I revealed the deed with my name on it. And then Ryan and Blake caught red-handed breaking into my office. I didn't add any dramatic music or narration, just plain footage with timestamps. Within minutes, the comments flipped. "Wow, she owned it all along. They're just mad she made it without them." Daisy is the definition of silent revenge. By morning, every news outlet was talking about it. My company's shares even went up because people respected how I handled it. Calm, smart, and clean. That afternoon, Ryan called me, his voice cracking. "Can we talk? You embarrassed us publicly," I almost laughed. "No, Ryan, you embarrassed yourselves. I just showed the world what's real." Before he could respond, I ended the call and blocked him. For once, there was no shaking, no guilt, no second guessing, just peace. A week later, the building was quiet again. I threw my own celebration, not to prove anything to them, but to remind myself how far I'd come. As I stood by the same window overlooking the city, my best friend Mia asked, "Do you ever wish they'd supported you back then?" I smiled faintly. "No, if they had, I wouldn't be this strong." She raised her glass. "To building your own family." I nodded, clinking glasses. "And to turning every insult into real estate." Outside, the city lights shimmered on the glass. For years, I had been the joke at the table. The broke one, the dreamer, the failure. But now, I owned the table, the room, and the building it stood in. And for the first time in my life, I didn't need anyone's approval, only their silence.